Hey, Jim.
Hey, Mike.
Number 25.
25.
I can't believe it.
Wow. End of the third market period. Today.
Today.
I was in yesterday.
Yeah, well.
I was trying to tell the kids.
Number 25. Wow.
Okay.
Turn this down a little bit. Anyhow, something's coming. Well, you know what? Let's do our beer first.
Okay, beer.
I
beer
found
review.
a beer I've never heard of before.
No.
New brewery.
New brewery.
That I'm not a new brewery. It's been around since 2007.
Right.
Called Half Acre.
Okay.
And
you know why? It said out of Chicago.
Yeah.
This is like the first one that hasn't been like East Coast stuff.
You know,
like we've done Maine. And,
yeah, we've done a lot of
local
East
ones,
Coast,
right?
local ones, right? Well, we did New Belgium.
Oh, from Belgium?
No, from out west.
Oh,
and then we did.
Yeah, right.
And we did a brewery that was out in California.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah.
So anyhow, this is called Half
East Coast,
Acre.
West Coast.
This is summer beer. Lots of summer beers coming out.
Oh,
good time of year for beer.
Yeah, it's what
I enjoy.
43 degrees today.
Yeah, it is cold.
It looks like summer. It looks like summer.
Any information about this beer?
Yeah, we got summer beer. It's seasonal.
Okay.
A lager, which we seem to like.
Yeah, we do like lagers.
And we have the 4.5 ABV.
No, that's not bad.
Another
Very
one.
drinkable.
Yeah, 12 ouncer. So last we had the 16 ounces going.
I saw that the brewery's medium size.
Yeah.
About 100 employees.
100 employees. That's pretty good size.
You can get beer in Pennsylvania. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
From their brewery.
They got good distribution.
Been around, as I said, since 2007. All right, let's give this a shot.
All right.
Summer beer.
Yeah.
Called.
They have any events there?
Yeah, they have quite a few events. We did some research and
sculpt your pipe.
We just missed build your own pipe night. We missed that last week. I don't know. So we did find out that recreational marijuana has been legal since 2020.
2020, January 1st.
Yes, it's have a beer and a toke.
I guess so. Fire up, man. You got it. I don't know.
Cheers.
All right, let's see. Cool can. I like the blue. Yeah, it's a lager. Yeah, it's got that lager taste.
It's a lager. It's light.
Light, yeah.
Not a light beer, but it's
a light lager.
It's light, refreshing.
Yeah.
Good.
Let's go. Yeah. That'll work.
It'll work.
That'll work.
I know, we've had 25 different beers. So. Go figure.
What do you do with all left? How many leftovers you got?
Not many.
Because I
share with my son and stuff.
I was going to say,
Patrick likes to. Patrick will give me a holler and say,
"Oh, that's cool.
Dad, can I try that? I'll bring it over.
Little father-son bonding moment.
We have a beer bonding moment.
I was going to say because we only drink like two.
No, I know. Well,
that's all right.
I like to.
I just don't want to
share the wealth. Hey, you know what time of year? You said the end of the third market period.
Is today at our school.
And I know my wife and many other teachers are preparing for standardized testing.
Even the parents go, "What's with that?" I go, "I don't know, man."
I know my wife's a little upset because
she's an English teacher.
Really important. Those English teachers out there.
Yeah.
She's disappointed because they're totally on the computer now.
Okay. That's been going back and forth.
Yeah, it's been going back and forth. I think as an English teacher and as when there's written prompts,
right,
it may be better to handwrite those prompts rather than type into the computer.
Yes.
I mean, I know as a writer, I like to write first and then transcribe into the computer.
Yep.
It's
different. Math, we'd be going back and forth. We did computer, then we went back to paper and pencil, then computer, and I think they're going back to pencil and paper now because they're worried the kids click too quick.
I kind of feel bad for those math and English teachers. They're the two big ones that have standardized testing. I know from in elementary school, I think it's 3rd grade, 5th grade, and 8th grade.
No, 3 through 8.
Oh, it's 3 through 8 now.
Every year.
Okay, so it
used to be staggered.
They have to do math, science, and ELA. Yeah. So
we do the science. It's only like one day in middle school, but I don't think it has the impact of the other two. Like
at the high school level, they have the keystones.
Okay.
So there's an algebra keystone.
Right.
Biology keystone.
Right. They used to say some of the kids thought that was easier. Some kids take both. In 8th grade, if you have Algebra 1, you take the 8th grade PSSA, and a couple of weeks later, you take the keystone.
Oh,
so you have to take both. I'd say just pass one.
Yeah.
You have to take the keystone.
And that's, I think,
But they said
one
they
of
thought that
the,
was harder.
I think they
Yeah.
call it the, like a milestone to graduate.
Oh,
I think there's another term I'm
They
forgetting.
always change that too.
But yeah, I remember
everything always changes.
when they used to have portfolio assessments.
Portfolio assessments, and I remember No Child Left Behind. In a couple of years, everybody was going to be 100% proficient.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
No.
How long has that been since?
No Child Left Behind. Federal mandate.
Federal mandate.
Is that right?
What
2002.
What if there's not a Department of Education?
I guess that's off the books then. Yeah, gone. Gone. So,
I know our school, and we've made progress. We've had shown progress, and then there's been years. I know since COVID,
AYP.
There was a few years annual. Yeah. How does it go?
Annual yearly progress.
Right. Yeah, another one of those acronyms.
AYP.
I know. So there's the PSSA.
Yeah.
And then the Keystone. And then my program, the Life Skills program, the ID students take the PASA.
Oh, okay.
Pennsylvania Alternative State Assessment.
I was going to say, yeah.
And I think it's all computerized now. But for the longest time, and I'll just share this with everyone out there, we had to videotape our students one at a time taking the PASA.
Okay.
What a chore.
Yeah.
What a chore, because, we probably had, in my program, and again, we did it in 8th and then 11th.
Oh, okay.
We didn't do it every year.
No, because you guys only have to do it once in high school, right?
So 11th grade.
Which I don't understand that.
Maybe the numbers were around 15 students in 11th grade. You'd probably need, I don't know, a good 3 or 4 hours a student.
Oh, jeez. Really?
Videotape.
Oh.
And again, it's progressed now that it's on the computer, which I don't know if it's better or worse.
Right.
Again, my wife was saying it's better that the kids handwrite their written prompts.
Right.
But I maybe agree the same thing with our life skills students, because they used to send us a manipulative kit.
I remember, because I worked next door to Amy, who did life skills
so
at my school.
We'd put together a binder. We'd have to create that, and that binder would be the questions, a student questionnaire, and then the teachers would read the prompts to the students, and then there would be a box of manipulatives because they would ask them for instance, I'll just let you know that one of the questions we'd ask the students, and this would be a math question, they would talk about different size socks.
Okay.
And students,
I didn't really know there were different sizes.
I would tell the students, and I'd give them a collection of maybe, I don't know.
Did they have socks in the box?
In the box. Oh, okay. Socks. And I'd give them like 10 socks, and I'd say, these are all the same color. Can you now separate these socks in a different way?
Right, I got you. Okay.
So they would look for size or texture.
So it's like Sesame Street. Like, what's the pattern here?
Remember, I had ID students.
I'm just saying, Sesame Street, like, which one doesn't belong? You're like,
and maybe,
and it's great. I thought Sesame Street was great.
We'd give them
find a pattern.
We'd give them a container of beans, like dried beans.
That just sounds like it's going all over the floor.
Many times, I'd have to stop the camera. All right, stop. Now we got to reset the camera. And oh, by the way,
it just sounds like beans.
But the state would pay teachers in the summertime to come in.
Oh, grade them.
To grade the video. So they'd have to watch the videotapes and then grade the videos.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you'd have to have the camera set up so it would see partially part of me, and then it would see the students, and the examiner could watch what the students were doing. Okay. And I'll tell you what.
Wow. I thought I had it rough. Whew.
Yeah.
All I have to do is pass out pencils and booklets and whatever.
Oh, but those teachers out there, there's all these rules.
I think it's easier to get in the White House than it is to do this. It's like $10,000 fine.
I think there's somebody in charge. There's a
designated
there's.
I can't remember what it is. It's on the quiz. Yeah, it's on the video quiz.
Yeah, you guys will like that out there. If you don't know, there's a
PA, something PA or.
There's a person in charge
of collecting the test.
You have to sign it.
Yeah, they put them in a safe. We have a safe in school, like a bank safe.
Yeah.
Dad's like, we got to keep them in the safe. I'm like, do people really want to get to these things?
No,
But I get it. I understand.
I
But
understand the
it's just
security.
ridiculous. You're like,
Yeah.
I think we could get into a different country faster
Yeah.
than I could get certified.
And of course,
Yeah.
we'd have to mail back these entire kits and these entire things back to the state. And I kept thinking, this is ridiculous. But
Yeah.
again, now the new tests.
Yes.
Are-
No
are-
manipulatives.
No
anymore?
manipulative, and it's much more challenging.
I'm sure
I
it
remember
is,
a
'cause
question
they
on the
don't
new
know.
test, and this may sound like something
No.
you may be familiar with, but in
Yeah.
this, they now have to take a science portion. So
Okay.
it's math and language arts, or math and reading
Read.
for the life
think-
skills.
Yeah, I think you call it ELA.
Now
I
there's a
forgot, yeah.
science portion.
Oh,
And one of the
geez.
questions that I found pretty perplexing,
Uh-huh.
it said a camel has humps
Okay.
that holds water.
Okay. I'm with you.
That is an adaptation.
Oh, jeez.
Can you name another adaptation a camel has? I was like, what? My students would look at
Like
me
what?
and I'd be like,
Camel.
you know, the camel has the humps,
Yeah, the humps.
holds
Yeah.
water. What other adaptation?
Yeah.
So
Oh, I know a couple. I mean, it's
do you
useless
know it?
knowledge. I'm going to go, well, the legs. They got the long legs.
okay,
Is that an
I
adaptation?
don't know if that's what they
Um,
were looking for necessarily.
Their
Yes.
eyebrows.
Yes, yeah.
Their eyelids.
Can-
no, eyebrows. They're
can-
real long to keep the sand out.
Don't they have eyelashes that close and
Oh.
they're translucent?
Oh,
So it keeps the sand. from
maybe.
getting-
I know
I
they're
don't
real
know.
long.
I know they have giant hooves.
Okay, big
Walking.
hooves on the sand.
Yeah,
I've walked
sand.
on sand.
I don't know. So
it sucks.
my students, the
They're-
test went
it's like,
from
what kind of question is
manipulatives to like things that, like, I guess I'm not teaching about adaptation.
that? Right. Is that
These
part
are
of the
life skills
curriculum?
students
Yeah.
that
About camels?
well, there's
I
the
don't know.
alternative curriculum that's supposed to match the alternative standards.
Oh,
So,
adaptation, I'm sure.
yeah, it's a tough one.
That's a tough. What word? What does that mean?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
there's some questions on there really like figuring out what they're asking you. The kids are, I don't know what they're asking.
What are they
me, Mr.
asking? me?
Richard.
Right.
And we did some of the practice ones.
Now listen, I know this.
Yeah.
You can't help any students
Right.
except read the
Right.
question for them.
Right.
If they need help.
I guess,
You could
or you
just
read it
re-
to the whole class, or
Well,
there's different rules.
there's
I
these
don't
rules
know.
now. Like you can't
Right.
even.
Well, you know what the new one is? Because I figured this out. They're like, oh, you can read them the question and even the answers, like A is B, B. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, well, that wouldn't be too hard to cheat. And they're like, what do you mean? I go, just change the inflection in your voice.
I guess.
Now the directions, you can't use the voice inflection.
Can't.
Somebody
okay.
probably got caught doing it.
Somebody-
Like, verse number 2 is A, Mississippi, B, Pennsylvania, C, California, D, Texas.
Well, again, I had.
but I
had to
figured it out.
Videotape myself,
Right.
so I was supposed to. There's supposed to be monotone
Oh,
voice.
so
Um,
monotone.
Yeah.
Where's your teaching voice? Oh, Bueller.
But yeah,
Bueller.
we had fun with it. So
Oh, my gosh.
not one year,
Wow.
but several years, my life skills program not only contained ID students, but ES students, or
Oh, jeez.
what we called back then ESD students. SED
Emotional.
SEG students, social emotional
Social
disorder.
support. Right.
And
So they probably have like a meltdown halfway through,
ah,
right?
well, so
like this can't go that long
I'm going to tell you a story about a
guessing.
student. I'll change his name. I'll just say his name is like
to
I don't
predict
know,
the
Harry. But Harry was a challenging young man. I want to let you know right now that Harry's in jail.
No,
Um,
unfortunately.
yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago, his brother and him lived together with an elderly man.
Oh,
They murdered him.
yep. I
and
know what you're talking
stuffed
about.
him in a barrel,
Mm.
and they kept him there for weeks and weeks and weeks because they were collecting his Social Security check.
Right. I heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my students.
Really?
Very challenging.
Wow.
And Harry had to do the
test?
PASA. And he wasn't very happy about sorting socks or counting beans or opening a jar
Wow.
of peanut butter.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
And must have stopped this test, I don't know,
14 times.
14, maybe
Yeah.
more.
I'm just seeing anybody like the emotional sport. I've taught them, and it's just at the time frames. Like you just try to keep them
I know.
on track. But I mean, how long did it take? You said 2 hours?
No, it
to
might
get
have.
this-
So somebody,
even in like a
somebody
half
Harry
hour.
might
Oh.
have taken me. So I remember we finally get done, and I'm like,
Oh.
and he gets up and he puts his hand on his chest and sings, "God bless America." land that I. I'm like,
Wow.
Harry, please. And I said, I'm not erasing it. I'm
No.
leaving it on the tape.
That's what he did.
And somebody at the state of Pennsylvania,
Whoa.
the Department of Ed in Pennsylvania, is going to be watching this
That.
tape and just lose it.
Yeah, that's different.
Okay,
man.
lose
that's
it.
different. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot going on with that test. Yeah. Grades 3 to 8 every year. And then 10 to 12 1 year. Or like 9 to 12.
Students at the high school, the challenge at the high school is that if you don't pass it, you have to retake it.
Okay. How many times? I don't know.
I think there's some seniors taking the algebra first.
Oh, the algebra's got to be. They're like rated like, yeah. Just give me the GED. I'm out of here, dude.
No, I mean, like, look,
but they said the
this is what goes back to No Child Left Behind.
Yeah,
listen,
it's just like
in our day, there were some students that just weren't academically inclined.
Right.
We've lost. I know Mike Rowe. Do you know Mike Rowe? Dirty Jobs.
Yeah.
Mike Rowe talks about this all the time about why don't we have a separate track.
Okay.
For those students who aren't academically
right, like tech school,
want to go. We saw them at tech school, but our tech school, I don't know. They have a process of only accepting so many students.
Well, you have to write an essay. It's hard to get in.
To take
and a lottery.
A lot of my life school students don't get accepted.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, trade schools or where they're more.
Why aren't there a track? I know in Europe, overseas, I think it's when you're
everywhere else in the world.
When you're 16 years old, you kind of declare what you're going to do.
Right.
An academic track or a trades track.
China, you have to take a test, big test.
So there were
to get into high school.
There were lots of students. I remember, teaching at Truman for I don't know 29 years, 28 years, whatever. Because I was at the elementary school for 9. So 36 take away
and
9.
Armstrong.
36 take away 9. 7?
27.
27. All right. Anyhow, but students, instead of taking algebra or geometry, they would take accounting.
Right. Business math.
Business math.
Right.
I mean,
percentages.
You got away with even taking a computer science class instead of a math class. Now,
need computers.
It's algebra, geometry. Okay. Some students will take algebra too. They don't have to necessarily.
Right.
But
geometry's tough.
But it's tough.
Geometry's different.
I know. There's just and you used to have like home economics.
Oh, I loved home ec.
Now we have something called STEM.
STEM.
So the wood shop class
gone.
And now
love wood stuff.
Now it's
wood shop.
Computer aided drafting.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
which are great classes.
Yeah. They don't have sewing anymore. They don't have home ec.
Yeah.
Nobody could cook anymore.
We have a home ec teacher who will do there's one sewing class.
I don't know how to etiquette.
We always
teach etiquette or something. That's what we learned.
My life skills students, I actually stole some. I didn't steal books.
I borrowed them.
The math department was getting rid of a book called Math for Everyday Living.
Okay, I saw those. Yeah, Everyday Living.
And I took that math book when they were getting rid of them, and I would use those as a template of what to talk about with my students, like buying a car,
right, credit card,
or writing checks.
Right, writing a check. Kids don't know how to do that.
Yeah. And I used those books, and that used to be a regular ed class.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, a little side show. Personal finance. Everybody's saying
shout out to
should have that.
Bernice Abagundi.
Okay.
You know, Mr. Abagundi.
I knew Mr. Abagundi.
God rest his soul. Love the guy. Love the family.
Yeah.
Great kids. Topi was on my soccer team.
Oh, okay.
But Miss Abagundi used to teach Math for Everyday Living.
Everyday Living.
It was a really good class. But No Child Left Behind.
Yeah, you don't have time for it. Yeah, we got rid of home ec. We got rid of sewing. They changed it. Well, they just got rid of that. And the wood shop gone. Yeah. I'm like,
and again, there's nothing wrong with raising standards.
Yeah.
That's what we all want to do. I think we talked about last week.
Yeah.
We talked about
well, the other thing they did, I think, because of math, we had all the standards and,
Well, I said, I feel
bad. But they crammed it down.
I know.
They took 8th grade. They're like, oh, we're going to teach that at 7th. 7th, we're going to teach that at 7th. I go, you're not making up time, dude.
I don't know.
I don't know. It just got really hard.
It got really hard. Right. I know. And again,
box of whiskers. I'm like, dude, I don't know what stem and leaf. I don't think I've ever used it. I'm 60 years old. Can't remember the last time I used stem and leaf ever. Box of whiskers. The only time I've seen it is on standardized tests that they used to send over your parents the results, right? And you're like, looking at each other like, is this good or bad?
Well,
85th percentile. Is that good or bad? Right?
Funny, I know.
That's the only time I saw box of whiskers. And no one really could read, except the guidance counselor.
I So taking the alternative test, we
Oh.
also get test results.
Okay.
So prior to the new test, which has been about maybe 5 or 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Prior to that,
Mm-hmm.
my students would be
exempt.
No, not exempt.
Hmm.
They receive. I'm trying to think. We used to be called below basic. Now
below basic, yeah.
It was what's the below basic?
Oh, basic, proficient,
and advanced.
Yeah.
So my students would receive advanced.
Really?
On the Pennsylvania alternative.
Alternatives. Wow, that's
and my
pretty
parents
good.
would question why they were still in life skills if they.
So they're advanced. Well.
And I
think
I
when
have
you're
to explain that
it's
the
not
test was geared at a low level, and at the time, 10 years ago, sorting socks or measuring cups of beans.
Yeah, I think they're pretty tough. I remember seeing some of the questions, and I'm like, that's not an easy question. I think we had 1 year, like for the whole 8th grade, we had one kid scored like advanced, and the entire. I'm like, what? One kid? I go, how hard? I
remember
this test,
this
man?
is.
Or wouldn't do what they'd get like below basic or say basic on the 8th grade PSSA and proficient on the Keystone. I'm like, how are they doing better on the 9th grade? The kids are like, oh, the Keystone's easier. I'm like, they told me they're like, that one's a lot easier. I'm like, it's probably more general.
A lot of it is performance though too. A lot of it, that whole you guys, people out there listening. You remember?
Yeah, you probably been down.
You remember when we all took standardized tests and we'd ask the teacher, "Does this count?"
Well, when we have tier class next year,
Well, and guess what? There's people out there that complain about teachers, complain about education. We're trying.
We're
okay. If your child doesn't meet,
we're trying, man.
A certain level. We are trying. I mean, 25 years ago, or 30 years ago, we would just tell them, just do your best.
Yeah, just do your best, man.
But today, there's a lot of pressure.
There is. I mean, 3rd grade, you're like, these kids are stressing out, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on kids. Today.
I'm not, I don't know. As I said, someone asked me, as Matthew, like, what do people really need to know in math? I go, like, percentages in like every day.
Yeah,
but fractions probably.
But we are piling more on.
Yeah.
So then statistically, it looks bad. We were ranked low and stuff like that.
As we said last week. No multiplication tables. They're like, yeah, they can do this.
I know.
But I'm like, just give me the multiplication. If you know that, I'd be happy as a clown right now.
Right.
So
I feel bad for those teachers out there.
Oh, here's another stat I saw in a book written by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh, M. Night Shyamalan. He's a local.
I know. Sixth Sense.
Shot the film Lady in the Water.
Oh, where at?
Down the street from Truman.
Really? Okay, I think I heard that. Yeah,
I'm hoping to contact M. Night Shyamalan about my story.
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping he'd be interested.
Yeah, maybe he can get going.
Another movie shot in Lower Bucks.
Cool. That would be good. Yeah, that's good. That's a good avenue.
NBC 10 or NBC. They shot a movie about Truman. Our theater department. It was called Rise.
Oh, okay.
There was only one season. It got canceled after one season.
But still, that's
cool. But it was based on our theater department.
Mm-hmm.
And they did an NBC show called Rise.
Right. So here's what he found out.
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. The one thing I was reading, I was like, I should have marked this because I always talk about like we're like 20th in the world in math and science or whatever.
Right.
So I'm like, really? So what he said was the statistics distorted. He's like, every country in the world does not have special ed. Like in China.
Right. I'm sorry out there. I'm a special ed teacher. Yes, the numbers drag us down.
Like China, you have to test in.
Correct.
Like in 9th grade. If you don't, you go to the factory. That's it. Correct. So you're already skimming off the top right there. Right. So he said, if you took the bottom 5% of the scores in the United States, didn't count them, we'd be number 1 in math and science. Like, cause I'm just saying.
Look, statistics can be skewed.
Oh, big time.
And I remember
that's what he was saying. Yeah.
We had one of our goals one year. It should be a goal is increasing graduation rates.
Yeah, that's
and our graduation rate is really good. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're probably in the 90s.
Really? That's great.
We have a good graduation
rate. I don't know.
But one year we dipped a little bit because the state made us count those students in our life skills department who can now stay till they're 22.
Okay.
They used to be 21. You could stay till you're 22 years old. They were counting those numbers in students that didn't graduate.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you have more students too, because they're staying till 22.
So we generally have we call them postgrads.
Oh,
We
okay.
generally have about 20 postgrads in our life schools.
That'll change it.
Right.
Yeah.
20 kids that don't graduate.
Right. Or come across as don't graduate.
Right. And the state, and I'm not sure if it's still being calculated. I had a problem with, I remember I stood up at a meeting just to let everybody know, because we're usually like the bad guys.
Right. You're on the hot seat
Yeah,
a
I'm
lot.
on the hot seat a lot. And I said, look, those numbers are skewed.
Right.
We 20 students who don't graduate, don't take their diplomas. It doesn't mean they couldn't graduate.
Mm-hmm.
They just chose to stay till they're 22.
Yeah.
And that lowered our graduation rate
okay.
that year. And
it just depends how you count.
People get upset with that. They really do.
Yeah.
And I understand.
Right. But they look at the statistics. And if you take a statistics course, did I say that right? Number one thing you learn is you can make a graph or statistics look wherever you want.
Whatever you
just
want.
how you arrange it. So
I think
the one thing, I don't know. I had to take statistics twice. No. So it's just, I feel like they're overthinking it. So I remember there was when we retired, there was this woman they showed who taught like first grade for like 45 years. Right. Retired. You're like, oh, that's nice. So she goes, I kind of got bored. Like, I need something to do. So I went back and like volunteered. She goes, I teach first grade again. She goes, I teach reading. I help the kids with reading. And they're like, oh, you just like help? Do you just do reading? She's like, yeah. She goes, because if you can't read, you can't do much else.
Right.
And I'm like, that's it, dude.
Brilliant.
Science class, got to read.
Right.
Social
Math,
studies, got to read. Word problems. People hate word problems. Right. Every class, I'm like, yeah, imagine going to China. They give you a book, you can't read it. You're like,
what are you going to do?
What am I going to do? So I don't know. If it was me, I would just make sure, like, track every kid in elementary school. If they need more help, get it right away. Second, third grade. I'm just saying.
I asked you last week if you thought multiplication tables were taught.
Well, not directly, I don't think. I don't know.
I think everybody, the kids learn the multiplication tables like third or fourth grade. It's when you learn your multiplication tables.
Yes.
When we talked about somebody going home and practicing and stuff like that. That's important.
It is.
So we do this stuff.
Right.
It's just we look like the bad guys because.
But as I said, I think they're teaching other concepts because that's what's on the test.
Yeah, I know.
So everything's geared toward the test, which I don't agree with that. But if you could just read, right?
All right. So for those teachers out there,
that's just us.
Standardized testing time. I know parents, kids, you're working hard. Look,
Yeah.
try your best. Do your best.
Get a good night's sleep.
I have a little bit of information. I think I wanted to say this earlier, but my kids went to Central Bucks. Shout out to Central Bucks teachers. Great job. My kids did very well in school. I know at my son's middle school, Tamina Middle School, they had a plaque.
Really?
Out of 200, this is in 8th grade.
Wow.
This is on the PSSA.
Ooh, the big one.
211 8th graders. 182 were advanced.
Wow. Well, they must have it down there.
211.
Really?
Wow. Well, a lot of it, again, it goes back to their home life. It goes back to stable, parents. It goes back to like that. Look, that's a pretty big statistic. That's
pretty big.
Something that most places.
I don't know. Maybe we're just not teaching one, but like not gearing them. I don't know what to say. Maybe there's a test prep book that they use that we don't. You're like, oh, well, this would change things. These are the problems.
Look,
I don't know.
We're not.
Yeah,
I don't know this for a fact with every teacher, but we don't necessarily teach to the test. People think, oh, yeah, you teach to the test, but we do a lot of prep. We do a lot of prep. Teachers are working their butt off.
You try to work it in with what you have to cover.
Correct, and it's a lot to cover.
Well, we used to do the pre-test throughout the year to predict how you're going to do in the PSSAs.
Right.
I remember the one year I counted up 32 days we spent on testing. We did the foresight testing 3 times a year, and it took like 3 days. I was like, how much time are we spending like on testing? I'm like, 30 days? I remember with PSSAs, I wouldn't see kids for 2 weeks because the way we had set up, I'm like, I'll see you in like 10 days.
Yeah, it is.
And they're like, what?
And again,
so
it's a mandate. We have to do it.
But teachers are doing their best. They're trying to get everything done. And elementary, I don't know how they do it because they got to do the math, the reading. They got a lot. Overwhelmed. Yeah. How they work all of it in, I don't know. Hats off to elementary teachers.
All right. Listen, that's a pretty good show. It sounds like a wrap. It's about 30 minutes. It's
perfect.
You know what to say?
With every pour, there's a story.
All right, man.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
A lot of
See you,
pressure
man.
on that. All right.